Hey everyone, it's Jen. Thank you for joining me for this 15-minute gentle grounded flow. So this practice is a great way to start your day in the morning, nice and soft and gently, or it's a practice you could really reach for any time of day. Also really great for evening, just kind of winding down maybe after work or a long day. So we're going to begin our practice in seated. So finding a nice comfortable seat on your mat space, or if you're just practicing on a carpet at home, that's great too. And we'll really root into those sits bones, so finding that connection in with whatever surface we're seated on, growing tall up through the crown of the head, and then just gently closing down through the eyes. Give ourselves that opportunity to just drop into our practice and into the present moment. Giving ourselves a permission to let go of any distractions around us. I know sometimes practicing at home can be a little more challenging with more distractions, but we can just let go of those and be present here on our mats. Knowing that whatever it is that's distracting us can wait for just 15 minutes so we can find our practice here today. Just connecting in with that breath, big breaths in and out. Maybe choosing to create a specific intention for your practice today. Maybe it's what brought you to your mat, something you're looking to let go of, or something you're looking to invite in. Keeping those eyes closed or gently blinking them open. We'll start to find some gentle movement in the neck. So starting with chin to chest, lengthening up tall. Maybe finding just a little bit of extension as we open through the front of the throat, but we're being really gentle with the neck. We want to avoid any pinching or discomfort. And maybe beginning to find a little bit of side flexion and rotation in that neck as we rock the head from side to side. And then maybe finding full rotation in the neck, only if that feels safe and comfortable for you. And then returning back through midline, take a deep breath. Just exhale any tension still left in the neck there. Good, and let's begin to move into the shoulders. So lift those shoulders up, draw them back, slightly down, and then rolling them forward. So as we roll out through the shoulders, let's find all four movements. That shoulder girdle. And maybe going one at a time. Without judgment, you can just kind of notice any difference from side to side. Staying really connected with that breath. And just two more here. Good. As we take our next deep breath in, let's reach those fingertips up overhead. And then exhale, just let the shoulders and arms, elbows, wrists, fingers, everything just get heavy. Inhale, we'll reach. And exhale, let's let it get heavy. Good, one more. Good, moving a little into that side body. Let's release the fingertips of one hand to the mat space as we reach the other one up overhead. Really thinking about length in the side body and avoid dropping into that side too much. Maybe even thinking about turning that heart space up towards the ceiling or towards the sky. And exhale, let's come through midline. Inhale, let's head the other way. So really an opportunity to send that breath to those tiny little spaces between the ribs. Really feeling that expansion of the side body. Slowly releasing here. Take a big breath. We're going to sweep that left arm up overhead, drawing the palm of the hand between the shoulder blades. We can reach up with the left, gently pulling across, finding a nice stretch there through the underarm and that upper back. So choosing to stay here, or maybe we can begin to reach around with the other hand. Maybe those fingertips meet. I'll just turn so you can see. Or if you're practicing with a strap at home or you have a little towel or anything, you can use that just to extend the arms a little bit. So we can either stay nice and lifted through the chest or maybe hinge into a little bit of a fold here. Make our way back. Let's release those arms. Shake it out. Big breath in. Big breath out. Good. Let's head into the other side. So staying here nice and open or with that fold, or maybe reaching around to find those cow face arms. Nice and connected with that breath. Gently returning upright. If you found a little fold, let's release those arms. Give everything a little bit of a shake. Shake out the head, shake out the shoulders. Good. Our next inhale, let's sweep those fingertips. Exhaling, let's open ourselves up towards the right side. Sitting up nice and tall. So length through the spine first, and that rotation is just secondary. We're continuing to stay rooted through those sits bones, and we're not forcing this position in any way. Inhale, let's reach. Exhale, open the other way. Inhaling, we'll reach. Exhaling, we'll open. Let's find a couple more here. Inhale, opening, exhaling, rotation. Good, and one more on that second side. Gently returning back through midline. Just give everything a little bit of a shake. Big breath. Good, and let's invite the soles of the feet together if you're not maybe already seated in that position. Hands are going to come to the ankles or the shins, or even resting to the knees is okay. On our inhale, let's think about lifting through the belly, through the chest as we open up through that front body. And then exhaling, we're going to actually tuck that tailbone. We can even kind of tip back onto the tailbone as we round through. Good, inhale, we'll shift that weight forward. Opening up through front body. So we can drop that neck. We want to avoid any pinching, just really thinking about opening the front of the throat here as opposed to hinging into the neck. And then exhale, really rounding through. Let's find one more just like this. And exhale. Good, so maybe continuing to work with that front to back movement, or we can start to find some rotation. So coming slightly to the right, forward, back, behind. So we're still moving with that opening and closing of the spine, but also adding in a little bit of rotation. Good, and heading both ways. And I inevitably always sit on the creakiest board in this whole studio. But I'm gonna notice that distraction and not let it suck me in. I'm just gonna stay rooted in my practice. You can do the same at home to whatever distractions are coming up for you. Good, and we'll just release those hands to the lap for one big breath. Good, we're gonna make our way over onto our knees, hands and knees here, and then sitting ourselves back. So we're sitting back onto those heels. We're gonna reach those arms around behind us on our inhale, either holding our own hand or finding opposite forearms. Slowly rolling those shoulders down and back. We can open up through the front of the chest. We can stay rooted down, seated onto the heels, or maybe we wanna open up, so standing right up onto those knees and maybe finding a little bit more opening through that chest. Good, exhale, let's release. We're gonna draw ourselves all the way forward, rounding through those shoulders, dropping the forehead to the mat space or stacking palms, resting forehead. Finding our rock pose or embryo pose. Making our way back to seated on the heels. We can inhale, we'll reach those arms back behind us. Opening front body, optional to lift up. Then exhale, let's round through. Couple breaths here in that rock pose. So really thinking about letting those shoulders get heavy. If you want to shift the weight slightly forward, so we're starting to roll up towards the crown of the head, you can as well. Drawing the hands underneath of those shoulders, spreading those fingers nice and wide. We can either tuck the toes or leave the tops of the feet to the mat space. Tucking the toes will give us a little stretch through the soles of those feet. Let's begin to move through some full cat-cow here. So we'll inhale, drop the belly, lift up through the front body, maybe even opening that throat. And then as we exhale, we're gonna tuck that tailbone, we're rounding through, pulling that chin to chest. Inhale as we open. And exhale, we'll round. Two more. And on this last one, we're just gonna linger in each position for a couple breaths. So that nice open position through the front body. Then exhale, we'll round. Optional this time if you want to come up onto the tips of the fingers, the pads of the fingers, maybe getting a little bit deeper into that rounded spine. And slowly release back to neutral. If those toes are tucked, let's let them go. So we shift the hips slightly to the right. We can take the gaze out over the left. Through midline, shift the hips left, gaze is right. Back and forth here a couple of times. Beginning to walk those knees out wide. Let's sit back to our heels as we stretch those arms out long away from us, melting our heart, our foreheads down to the mat space, or maybe using a prop just to lift the floor up a little bit here. Couple big deep breaths. Really thinking about filling that back body. Slowly walking those hands underneath the shoulders. Let's begin to press ourselves back up. As we walk those knees in, we can roll to one hip, arriving back in seated. Rooting down through those sits bones, growing tall up through the crown, closing down through the eyes. Just taking a moment to notice how you're feeling right now. How you're feeling after this grounded practice. And then just remind yourself of that intention that you created when we began. And give yourself that permission to take that with you off of your mat. You can connect those palms, finding our heart center. Thank you so much for joining me for this quick little grounded practice today. I hope you were able to find what it was you were looking for. And I'll look forward to practicing with you again very soon. Namaste.